Hello, my name is Bernard Trottier, Member of Parliament for Etobicoke Lakeshore, and welcome to In the Hot Seat, my video companion to my e-newsletter, The Lakeshore Link. I want to answer some questions that many of you had recently about issues of the day. Number one is the Senate, and it's been in the news a lot lately because of some issues related to certain senators abusing their expense accounts. So let me say, any acts where people are abusing expense accounts in the private sector, but especially in the public sector, have to be condemned. People cannot get into this kind of business to line their own pockets, especially on the public purse. It does point, however, to the fact that we need to reform the Senate. And this Prime Minister, this government, we've been looking at ways to do that. I'll just mention one thing. There are some constitutional constraints that the Prime Minister has. He cannot fire a senator unilaterally. There are constitutional constraints that don't allow that. So I think it points to the need to reform the rules that allow for the removal of senators if they're in breach of the public trust. And so one of the reforms that we've proposed, it still hasn't passed yet, is around term limits, for example. But also I think the ultimate accountability would be through the ballot box. And the Prime Minister and this government and myself, we've been advocating or encouraging provinces to hold Senate elections if they want to. It gives that level of accountability. One of the things that I've always done as a Member of Parliament is, as I've said, never forget the people who sent you. And a senator who's sent by being elected, I think will have at least that level of accountability towards the electorate. So that's we're looking to get Senate legislation passed. In the meantime, the Senate itself is going to reform its own rules. So as you know, the House of Commons is separate from the Senate in terms of the governance structure, but they need to reform their own rules to make sure that the public purse is kept in mind. The second issue I want to talk to you about has to do with collective bargaining related to Crown corporations. I had quite a few letters and emails from constituents recently about that. And let me just say that when it comes to Crown corporations, the ultimate shareholder is the taxpayer. It's the public treasury that will backstop any financial decisions that a Crown corporation makes. And a couple of Crown corporations, CBC, for example, Canada Post, Via Rail, Atomic Energy of Canada Limited. These are Crown corporations that have had some certain financial challenges. And the federal government and the Treasury Board have asked to participate and at least observe in some of the collective bargaining to make sure that the people on the other side of the negotiating table for the government are actually keeping the taxpayers' interest in mind. Some people have said with respect to CBC in particular that this might affect the journalistic integrity, and that's utter nonsense. This is strictly a financial arrangement. We want to make sure that the stakeholders are conducting fair bargaining in a responsible manner. So I just wanted to mention that. And there'd be other, I should mention also that certain provinces have implemented certain measures when it comes to collective bargaining for Crown corporations. The last thing I just wanted to mention is just I'm going to be introducing a private members bill in actually today, and there'll be more news on that in the coming days. And I'm looking at helping the provinces with their finances and looking at amending a certain provision in the Federal Provincial Fiscal Arrangements Act, which deals with major transfers, multi-billion-dollar transfers between the federal government and the provinces with respect to the Canada Health Transfer and the Canada Social Transfer. So there'll be more news on that in the coming days, and I look forward to talking to you about that in the next edition of the In the Hot Seat. Thank you very much.